And then Fire Fist Ace, during Marineford War. Everybody came to that execution. He knew he was gonna die. Like, he knew he was gonna die. He just didn't know when. He thought he was gonna die on that platform. Garp approached him with tears in his eyes and said, "Why the fuck did you do this? I told you to not do shit like that." And Ace was like, "Well, I had to, and I don't really regret it, but, this sucks." And then Whitebeard showed up and he was like, "You all came for me, and everybody's here to fight against you guys. You could probably fucking die." He was, at some point he was like, "You guys shouldn't do this shit just for me. I am kind of worthless." He was kind of viewing himself that way. And then Luffy showed up and then he did get free. And he was like, "Okay, maybe I do have a way out." And he held down against some weak-ass fodder marines with Luffy, and then he attacked Aokiji's, Ice Pheasant and handled that. But then after that, that's when death came for him in the form of Akainu. Akainu, knew how to press Ace's button. He was like talking shit about Whitebeard and how he, is worthless, and, he's worthless too because he follows somebody like Whitebeard. And then, he was pissed off and he, decided he wanted to stand on a fight. And, he ended up getting burned. And then also, Luffy, ended up losing the paper, the Viver card. And he was trying to find it, but he was smoke everywhere. So then Ace had to jump in the way and defend the attack, so Luffy wouldn't die. And his last words were, "Thank you for loving me," and, he died. And then Luffy went into shock. But that was Ace during Marineford. They did everything for him, but, his temper got in the way and he ended up paying the price. Strength is 86% for Ace, and then speed is 88%. 83 for his durability. And his endurance is 82%, with his intelligence at 77%. And his experience at 84%. With the close skills at 85, with range skills at 87%. And recoups at 80%, and then hacks are at 88%. With the overall power score of 84% for Fire Fist Ace. I would say he'd be better if he was smarter, And that's Ace, was a sad death, but that death really pushed it forward for Luffy and the story. It was kind of necessary, But yeah, be cool, Claw in the corner. That was a sad one.